Cincinnati Cabinet of Curiosities is a 36-page anthology comic book with 6 stories from Cincinnati's paranormal lore, each by different local artists. Each story has a unique take from its creator. Let's listen in.
If I had written the entire experience, that was based off of true events. I think I can say that. If I had written everything that had happened those nights, that the weekend I had been there at the rectory, it would have been longer than our actual anthology, because there was a lot of action that happened that was paranormal, and to this day we really don't. It was a very crazy night where we were seeing orbs flying around, self-illuminating orbs flying through, but ghosts, unexplained phenomenon. Somebody had lost time, but the craziest thing that happened was the doppelganger that we witnessed, and it was not just myself, it was 4 other people, but for the ease of reading I only just focused on the 3 main characters of that night, which was myself and then 2 friends of mine. So it's based off of true events.
And it's castles. What guy doesn't like to draw castles? Just the history of it, and I thought I knew some of the history, but digging into it and learning, the ins and outs of Harry's supposed death in World War I from the scarlet fever, was it meningitis? Yeah, influenza meningitis. Yeah, and that whole story, just that part of that story is what sparked my story.
I fell in love with the Loveland Frogman story. I think it's a great thing. I've had a long interest in cryptid sightings and the like. And when I read the Loveland Frogman story, I thought it was so much fun. There was so much there. I wanted to do a longer piece with it, but I knew I had some time constraints and chose to do instead sort of a gag strip.
It sounds like it's something kids do, because when you go to this, it's kind of like if you've read the Narnia books, the wood between the worlds. Like, this is what this is like. These drain systems are kind of like a wild slice in between, like, very built up suburbs. So it almost feels otherworldly. So you could picture as kids, like as a kid, I loved going into creeks and we would go up miles, and we would be told not to go there by our parents, of course, but we would go there and walk, and we didn't see anything satanic, but you could see how this would be a bunch of kids ooking each other out. I mean, going into a drain system, how scary is that? I mean, that's what I think it is. It sounds like it's one of those things, and maybe a drain, like a satanic drain system, is common in other cities. I don't know.
But after learning extensively about the past of the building through my online research and also through a current exhibit that's going on in the museum where I work as security, I learned a lot about, like, the land that the building was placed on and the Paupers Field, and I, stemming from that, then just like the plethora of red string just comes out of the woodwork, and I start making pieces together, just like, oh yeah, the people from the Moselle steamer explosion would obviously be buried in a place where they couldn't identify bodies.
Because they were unidentifiable.
Because they were just shreds.
Honestly, we were talking about doing a project, and we were talking about the local myths. What really appealed to me was the idea of the idea of mermaids in the Ohio River. So that came up, and I was fascinated. So there was this article in the Cincinnati Enquirer in 1894, a little ways back, and they actually printed this article. Basically, it was talking about a sandbar on the Ohio River near Vevey, Indiana, where they talk about these 2 nondescript creatures.